brings me great pleasure to officially inaugurate the National Council on Privatization.
The mandate is one of commercialization, privatization, optimizing government investment.
Privatization is a very emotive thing. It had a lot of opponents within the bureaucracy who didn't believe that we should privatize because they felt that you were taking their territory. Government must come out and say, this is the direction that we want to accept. Because look, there is no Nigerian that wouldn't love to see the power sector. And there has to be a specific law that will punish electricity theft so that it will serve as a deterrent.
Welcome to OTNA, your window to information on optimization.
At the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, it's a general philosophy that a better Nigeria is possible. And for that to happen, privatization and commercialization transactions must be precise, transparent, complete, and optimized for the benefit of Nigeria. Welcome. It's yet another edition of OTNA, Optimizing the Nation's Assets. Here on OTNA, we track the process of optimization of the nation's assets through privatization and commercialization. Today on OTNA, we will be looking further at the power sector. Remember that recently on the program, we focused on the power sector to see the work done by the BPE. Here today, we'll see the work done on two of the major distribution companies in Nigeria and the giant strides by the BPE leading to their success. We will be visiting the Eko Distribution Company and the Ikeja Distribution Company, both in Lagos, Nigeria. We'll also visit the Eleme Petrochemicals Limited, EPCL, now Indorama Eleme Petrochemicals Limited, located in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. We'll see the transformation and the milestones achieved post-privatization. On the program, we'll be hearing from Mr. Orishedere Simon Otubu, the board chairman of Eko Distribution Company. We also had a chat with the first female MD CEO of Eko Distribution Company, Dr. Tinuade Sanda. We'll see the innovation brought in by technology. It's called SCADA. These and more as you stay with us on OTNA.
Optimizing the nation's assets.
Lagos is regarded as the most populous city in Nigeria. The city has a significant influence on commerce, entertainment, technology, education, politics, tourism, art, fashion, and much more, not just in Nigeria, but all around Africa. Now, due to its large population and sophisticated customer base, two discos were created in 2006 to serve Lagos State. These are Eko Electricity Distribution Company Limited, known as Eko Disco, and Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company Limited, known as Ikeja Disco. A total of 11 electricity distribution companies and 6 generation companies were formed after the sector was privatized in November 2013. The power distributors include Abuja, Benin, Eko, Enugu, Ibadan, Ikeja, Jos, Kaduna, Kano, Port Harcourt, and Yola Discos. Now to our focus, Eko Distribution Company. The board chairman of Eko Distribution Company, Mr. Orishedere Simon Otubu, gives us the background to the process of bidding by the BPE and how Eko has fared post-privatization.
Me and my co-investors in WPG, we had a vision that we felt that we should give light to Lagos especially. When we bidded for this asset, we concentrated on Lagos because we felt that Lagos had greater potentials for the need for the people. We also felt that the capital, we can make a lot of more money and investment and impact lives more. You know, in Nigeria today, 60% of the economics of Nigeria is from Lagos. And we felt that if we touch those lives, we'll be able to give light to Nigeria. BP has been a very good partner to the discos. You know, they have a seat on our board, and we've worked with them in a very consensual manner whereby most decisions are taken as a team. They have a veto power, but they've not had to use that veto power throughout, because in EkEDC, we run a very transparent board. We follow proper governance, do our accounts after when due, and all what needs to be done on the corporate entity, we have done that, which is why I always say that today we are referenced as the best disco in Nigeria, and BP has helped us in achieving that. It's been a very good partnership to show that government and private sector can work together, and we feel that when we needed support, they've been there to support us in achieving most of those aims.
The board chairman also told us on how the board is run and the involvement of the BPE on the board with the progress that has brought.
The process to acquire the disco was very transparent. People always make the assumption that we did not bring money. We invested a lot of money, over $125 million into this disco, and we paid to federal government. We went through a very transparent bidding process. During the bidding process, we actually came third, because what happened that other preferential bidders had to pick the ones they wanted. So we went through a rigorous process to try and get to this point. We had partners who were coming through. We had Tata as a partner from the beginning. So all the various dynamics of achieving this process, we went through, and BP was there. There was no bias to us. The process was followed to the letter, and we paid and we got the disco that we wanted to get at that point in time.
The chairman told us of the immediate challenges after acquiring the disco and the successes that they made afterwards.
What happened is that when we got the investment, initially we assumed a less, what I call technical loss ratio. And so when we got into the disco, we realized that the ratios were far bigger than what we assumed. It meant we had to do more work, spend more money, and to try and achieve what we've achieved today. Because we got in there thinking we were going to have technical ratios of about maybe 15, 16, 17%. We got there at about 40%, 45%, which we all did not plan for. And so the challenge was the technical losses were a lot, the financial losses were a lot, because a lot of people were bypassing also. So those were the challenges we had. So we had to use technology to use to overcome all those challenges so that we can move forward with the disco. At EkEDC, we've experienced a lot of successes. You know that we've increased revenues from 3 billion to 16 billion. We didn't do that just because we didn't do the right things. We focused on the right areas with the management to achieve those purposes. We are able to get newer areas. In Ikeja, for example, we are going to Agbara to give them more power. We are giving most people in Lagos, we are giving them close to 18, 20 hours of power today. What we've realized from my experiences is that, with the amount of investment we put into the network, we are able to give powers to Lagosians, which I can beat myself we've done so far. We started giving initially, maybe 10 years ago, with 10 hours of power, with the income of 3 billion. Today we've done 16 billion, as I said, 18 hours of power. Most of our customers are metered. At the time we started, we had maybe 20% meter coverage. Today we have close to 60 to 70% meter coverage, and we are trying to achieve more of that. So that the achievements we feel. Today we are going to Agbara for an industrial hub. We feel that industries need power, and we are trying to focus on Agbara to give the industries power. Today we are going to Ikeja also. We feel they need power. So we are going to areas that we feel need power. And we're also going to go into sustainable energy, which I'll discuss later, whereby we're trying to get solar energy into various areas so that we can help free the earth and pollute the air with generators.
On the worries of most Nigerians, that includes you and I, the power sector. Everyone is worried about it because most Nigerians believe that if we get it right in the power sector, many other things will be right. And that's true. Now, Mr. Orishedere Otubu had some assurances for all Nigerians.
What we have realized with power is that, with the right tariff, you can give everybody power. So what we've done is that we are strategically working in various areas to improve our network. By improving our network, we can now give power to various new areas that we're going through. For example, I said earlier, under renewable energy, we are looking at different models. We are doing what I call trial models. We are looking for renewable energy. In the areas of Ikeja and Co, we are also working on those areas to put more solar in buildings to work with them in that area.
As I mentioned earlier, we also spoke with the first female MD of Eco Distribution Company, Dr. Tinuade Sanda. She told us the journey from 2013 and the transformation using technology, as well as the staff reformation through training.
So the last 10 years has been quite challenging. It's been a roller coaster, some improvements, and we've had different obstacles by the way. So when we started 2013, there were huge expectations from all stakeholders, the customers, the regulator, the investors, and also even the employees, because we all thought that, okay, the privatization was going to bring in the 30,000 megawatts we've all been talking about. And we all thought that within the next 5 years, we were able to achieve that. So then when we came in, we met a distribution company that didn't even have an ERP system to start with. Metering was a problem. There were the network rehabilitation, the old network needed huge capex to turn around, and also a lot of customers were not even with the supply. So with the finance team then, what we tried to do first was to get KPMG to come in to do a due diligence on the old network to see what was required. We had to come up with a performance improvement plan. We had to design and come up with a strategic business plan on how to turn around the investment, the DISCO. So that's journey started in 2013. And I must say that with that, when we met it in 2013, then I think we were doing less than 200 megawatts as a DISCO. Today, we are doing 513 megawatts. We've entered into collaboration with the GENCO to increase our location to do additional 100 megawatts, just to ensure that we're able to meet our customers' needs. We've been able to also transform a manual organization we met on ground into an automated business environment today. We've done a lot of business initiatives that addresses customers' experience. So, for instance, we had to invest a lot in transformers. We had to invest in cables. If you must know, Ikoyi is this side of the network, rather, not just Ikoyi, is more of underground cable that was being pre-installed since ECN days. We had to spend quite a lot of money, funds to address the cable replacement, panels, RMUs, a lot of technical equipment that we had to invest and change just to ensure that we're able to meet customer needs. One of the things we also did was to also ensure that our employees, because we realized that that's the greatest asset that you have. We started from the people, that when you have good people, you're able to provide good service. When you have good people, the old NEPA brand will be addressed. And we thought that we needed to change and transform the culture of understanding that customers are king and we are in business because of the customers. So we had to spend a lot of money on training. We had to do a staff audit at a time. We got various consultants along the years to handhold us on different processes.
With the introduction of technology, EkEDC introduced SCADA, which is an acronym for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, SCADA. Mr. Umaru Salihu is a technical operation head. He explains the SCADA technology and how they moved from analog to digital.
Well, SCADA, as we all understand, is an acronym for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. Well, I'll tell you, usually the operations here in ECO used to run, just like every other DISCO, used to run on analog. How do I mean analog? We have pockets of injection substations making up a centralized operations hub in every DISCO, just like we have here right now. So then, without the SCADA systems, you have all pockets of injection substations operating autonomously, all of them operating almost independently. So it doesn't bring about operational coherence and fluid load and energy management. So in the time past, we usually have problems with issues of downtime in terms of service delivery and operations, basically. So what that actually meant was you have a centralized point where load is being allocated to the company. Prior to now, the downtime between acquiring the load from the transmission point, distributing it all across your injection substation for load management and services used to be very huge. But now, with the introduction of SCADA, we have an overview, a centralized overview of the entire system as it runs.
Now, let's join Mr. Umaru Salihu as he runs us through the operations of SCADA at ECO Distribution Company.
Really, it's a real-time automation solution that has a wide range of use or application across all industries, from automobile, utilities, but as it applies here in ECO, it is actually deployed here to run on our entire network. This actually has bring about optimal operational responsivity. We are better able to respond to load situations, fault situations, and any of these situations that brings about this dip in our service delivery in the past. But with the deployment of these SCADA systems, we're able to have a view without being told what is happening. We see straight away into the switches. We know the state of the switches. We know the load that is actually being drawn out of every autonomous hub. We're better able to manage it. As you're looking right there, what you're looking at is the SLD, the single line diagram of the entire ECO network. You can see all of these things spelled out in different colors. You have the green, you have the blue, you have the red. The color actually speaks to voltage level. Those are service point voltages, which is not what we distribute to our customers. Because when power is generated from different parts of the country and there are different generators, they are pumped over a very long distance. And in doing that, to ensure that you have the least or the most minimal losses you can ever achieve, what you do is to generate power and pump it over a long distance at high voltages, so that at the user point, you have very, very minimal load loss in what is being generated. We have 52 number injection substations in the company, and we can't zero into any one of these at any given point in time. We just don't look into it. We look at the state of the switches. We're able to look at the state of all of the switches. Is this feeder on? Is it on? Is it off? And what's the load, the quantum of load that's actually been drawn on the feeder at any given point in time. And in addition, not only are we able to look at this, we're able to look at the figures. That's the figure. I'm talking about the quantum of load in terms of data and figure. That is what is spoken to right here. So for the people who are here, we're better able to look at the network than those who are at their local hub. So what that simply means is that putting it together, putting it into perspective, we are better able to limit our downtime in terms of our operational processes. That's the advantage this offers.
Dr. Tinuade Sanda further explained what SCADA has done to bring customer satisfaction.
So today, from our SCADA room, I can tell you when some of my feeders are down. And what has that done helped me to do is to improve on customer service. So it also helps me to also monitor what my field operations are doing. So if I've allocated, because today we have what's it called, service band tariff, where we classified some feeders at 20 hours, minimum of 20 hours, some at 16 hours. It also helps me to control and monitor my team. And when there are faults or there are issues or there are downtime, I also get to know real time.
As the MD mentioned, high-level equipment were brought on board. Now, we went on a guided tour of the high-level equipment, transformers, and much more brought into the distribution company to ensure a total difference.
So this is Fowler ejection substation. So we have 4x15 MVA 3311 kV power transformer at this station. So prior to our ECO Disco taking over, we had only 3 power transformers. So and within the last 3 years, we've been able to upgrade the substation to 4x15 MVA 3311 kV power transformer. So the last one transformer there is the T4 50 MV 33/11 kV power transformers. So the sources of power to this ejection station is from same Alagbon transmission station located along Osborne Road, Ikoyi. So at the same time, just like we said before, we also have 3 sources of 33 kV line to this station. So meaning that we are wheeling 60 megawatts from Alagbon transmission station to this station. So Ikeja is one of our major load center, generation load center out of the 52 that we have in the EkEDC presently. This is a brand new 11 kV switchgear that was also procured and installed along with the T4 50 MVA power transformers. So this has been the bottleneck of not willing power to our customer, even when we have received power from TCN, has totally been removed. Because without the BP, without the partnership and the support of the BP, all the investment that we are bringing into the sector today, so it will not be possible. So they will be supporting EkEDC in achieving this matter. Prior to the privatization, we were taking about maybe between 100 and 200 megawatts. As of today, because of the expansion and investment that we've made into the network, so we are willing presently 513, and sometimes we normally reach like 590 megawatts.
Just like the EkEDC, Ikeja Distribution Company also had some transformation after the BP transaction. And this has touched the community as well through the Corporate Social Responsibility CSR program. Indeed, the Bureau of Public Enterprises has done a lot. Remember, the BPE is charged with the overall responsibility of implementing the Nigerian policy on privatization and commercialization. But they've also done some work in the Indorama Element Petrochemicals Limited. It's now IEPL, located in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. It's a petrochemicals complex located to take advantage of Nigeria's abundant supplies of natural gas and designed to manufacture products. Pre-privatization, documents available indicate that the company had an untenable debt burden and needed capital investment and would not be profitable for its buyers for several years. Now, in 2006, the company was privatized by the sale of some percentage of its shares to a co-investor through a competitive bidding process. Indorama Group then took over some part of the shares without liabilities, which were retained by the federal government of Nigeria. The company was handed over on October 26, 2006. Indorama immediately embarked on a $130 million turnaround maintenance and capital investment program, returning the facility to operating conditions within 4 months. Its production output quickly surpassed pre-privatization levels. IEPL, as now known, immediately returned to profitability, undoubtedly. Indorama Element Petrochemicals Limited, IEPL, is performing remarkably better after privatization than it ever did while in state hands. There is a clear difference when an asset is optimized. The impact of the Bureau of Public Enterprises BPE as the Secretariat of the NPC is no doubt bringing transformation in most areas. Institutions are transformed, workers are trained and re-energized, and of course there's upgrade for better performance. At the end, our country Nigeria is clearly better off. Today, with several transactions completed and more transactions ongoing, we can look forward to a brighter I say, a brighter future. And that's it on this edition of OTNA, Optimizing the Nation's Assets. My name is Tokwe Ojime. On behalf of the team, it's bye for now.
If we hadn't reformed the electricity sector, I'm sure by now there have been total chaos in the electricity sector. When you do this kind of reform, is that you must have a clear communication strategy on how to manage transition and ensure that policies are consistent.